Welcome to Community Watch, and today we're talking about two film programs at Georgia Highlands. You may not know this, but Georgia Highlands has two degree paths for film. We'll be talking to Seth Ingram, the Humanities Chair for Film. Community Watch starts now.
And welcome to Community Watch. Greg,
Doc,
it's good to see you.
you too, brother. How you doing today?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm ready to get back to what used to be normal.
I think it's gonna be a while.
Yeah, I guess so. But luckily, we have lots of movies to watch. Streaming movies. We're not doing too much theater action, but lots of movies to watch, and that is what we're talking about today, because thanks to our guest, we now have two different degree pathways for film at Georgia Highlands. And our guest is Seth Ingram, who is the chair of humanities for film. Seth, welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for having me, Greg.
How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
So, Seth, we're going to talk about these degrees, but I think a lot of people are, a lot of people know you and have known you a while. So it's not like you're new to Highlands or new to the community, and you've been working in film really various ways for quite a long time.
Yeah, I've just sort of built a little industry into myself and my film niche here in Rome, and it's growing now. When I started into film originally 20 something years ago, there was not much of a film industry here, and then 2008 we had the tax credit, and the film industry just came to us, and it's overflowing out of Atlanta into the rural areas. There's so much of it going on, and that created a lot of need for the education and for the film people on set. So there was a much demand for that, and then the Georgia Film Academy came along, and they created a position to train people for on set to work on these sets. So we've plugged into that a little bit. Plus, we've started our own pathway here at Highlands that's all in house, and so we're excited about those.
You know, Seth, I'm curious, and I'm sure we'll get into this because I'm a documentary buff. I love documentaries. But with all films, most of us never really pay attention to a lot of the credits. But, sometimes I just find myself watching the credits, and they can go on for a long time. And you see all these people named with all these things behind them, the PGA, the grip, and all of these things. And I've always wondered, like, what are some of those positions? Because clearly you see the actors, but there are a lot of people behind the finished product. I mean, more than we probably ever can realize. But so the industry, it's vast, I'm guessing, very vast in terms of what positions are available.
Oh, yeah, there's all sorts of ways to break it down, and there's a reason why there's a million names at the end of a film, because it takes a ton of people. It takes an army to make this thing, and there's different stages of the people work on the film too. The writers and directors and producers that work on developing it and get it off the ground. There's a ton of work that goes into it to get any project off the ground. And then once they get it in production, there's all the people that work on the set. And then once it's finished, there's all the people that work in post to get it out there. And then once they're finished, the producers come back in and take it out to the film festivals and try to sell the film and get it on TV, whatever the case may be. And if it's a TV show, you rinse and repeat and start that whole process again. So it's definitely an industry into itself, and we describe those jobs just in general on a film set as above the line and below the line. And the above the line are the creatives, the producers, the finance people, the directors, that sort of your grip and electric, your anybody on a film set that is just there, helping produce the project itself, to film the project, to get it in the can, as we say. Those people are all below the line. So with our two film pathways we created here at Highlands, I tend to divide it off as our film studies pathway is for those who want to go on to further their education in a traditional sense, and maybe you want to be one of those above the line people. And if you want to be really hands-on and just working on in the industry and a path to work sort of quickly, I'll recommend that our production pathway. Not to say that you can't go either way in both. I think they're both good options to do either, but they're good hands-on experience. But that's sort of how it's broken down. And then post-production, as we said, is a huge industry in the state as well now, where all the tax incentives apply not only to production, but also to post-production. So you're seeing a lot of post houses and editing houses and that sort of thing grow and open up here in the state as well.
Now, before Doc get in here, but I have another one. Because this program, and Doc, I know you had a lot to do with it, it's relatively a new program, is it not?
Started this fall.
That's right. We had our first classes. We're just wrapping up the first semester with our first batch of students, and it's interesting starting a program during the middle of a pandemic, and it hasn't been quite what I think that we will be once we get on the other side of this, but it's still been good. We had our first crop of students come through, and then we're enrolling more every day. And our next semester, starting in January, we've got a lot more students coming into the program. So yeah, very, very new program, and we're going to grow this thing and as we can. Excited to have it in Highlands too.
Well, Seth, we probably ought to talk a little bit about these two degrees, just so folks will know more about what we're talking about, what we're offering. I know the film studies pathway kind of is created to fit in with a bachelor's degree program at Georgia State in film studies, so that students who get this degree from Georgia Highlands can very easily make that transition to the degree program at Georgia State, but would not have any trouble transferring to other colleges in the state that have similar programs, and there's several in the state.
It is that's right. So the film studies track is more of the traditional in-classroom learning. There is one production course in there, an intro to film production course, but there's also that would be your traditional theory type courses, film appreciation, film analysis, film history, some of those sort of things that helps to know, and you can glean from when you're going to be in the creative process. It helps to know a lot of these things and how to express those things and understand those things, and then how to translate them onto camera or in story ultimately. So yeah, the film studies track is more of the traditional track if you want to go on straight into the bachelor's program and even to a master's program through Georgia State or one of the other university system schools, and it will matriculate right into those programs. The film studies program, I mean, the film production program will also, you can still transfer and go on. It's not that you can't still an associate's degree. It's just it has a finite end. If you want to end there, there's a stopping point, or you can still continue your education as well. With the Georgia Film Academy, we do 18 credit hours of courses through them in that track. And then at the end of those 18 credit hours, you do their intro to film production course, and then 2 additional craft courses, as they call them, that can be industry focused on gripping and rigging, lighting and electric, those sorts of things, editing. There's a lot of different crafts courses, makeup, special effects, all that kind of stuff. And once you do, complete your 18 hours in that, then you have the opportunity to apply for an on-set paid internship with one of these major films at one of the major studios, or on set, depending on wherever the internships are at the time. And then that's how you really get into the industry. And so all those courses are taught by industry professionals as well. But not to say that you can't go on to do your bachelor's degree at Georgia State or Kennesaw or West Georgia or Columbus or North Georgia, wherever you want to go that may have a film program. And then once you complete that degree, you can still go back and there's still opportunities for the Film Academy to translate into not necessarily film production, because we all know within media, there's a ton of jobs that aren't all working in film. There's all sorts of new media, and there's a lot of opportunities, and there's a lot of crossover in where the skill sets line up at as well. And in most all industries, storytelling is the essential core of what you're trying to do, and you got to be able to craft a story and tell a story no matter what media you're using or whatever art form it may be. So I think that the traditional film studies program kind of gears toward that a little bit and teaching people to be storytellers.
Well, let me go back a little bit because that is a lot of information. Let me go back a little bit and make sure it's clear, because the production pathway or degree is being offered through a partnership between Georgia Highlands and the Georgia Film Academy. The Georgia Film Academy will be offering courses for our students at Georgia Highlands on actual sets in, I guess, in the Atlanta area for the most part. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Well, they teach, most of the classes are either taught at Trillia Studios, which was formerly Pinewood Studios, or OFS Studios. Those are the two current ones. They do teach in Columbus, Flat Rock Studios, and they're starting to teach at some other studios as they open up. But currently, what you'll do is do like a hybrid online thing to do. A lot of your lectures will be remote, and you'll come in for the hands-on experience on the sets with all the actual equipment. And for university system schools that don't have a lot of equipment, it's very handy because they can have all of the really nice equipment, professional equipment that the students would be using on a professional set that can save the investment for some of the schools that may not be able to afford that right off the bat. Some of the schools do still offer their in-house degrees as well. And there's a lot of different ways to go about it, but I think that that's a really good experience, good hands-on experience with professional equipment and with professional industry folks, and to want to dive right in. It's a good opportunity for our other degree that's offered in-house, the film studies track. We still have the one production course where we teach the intro to film production, and like I said, then that leads on to a traditional, more of a bachelor's, transfer straight in for communications or a film degree at a university system school.
So those courses that are taught by the Georgia Film Academy, a student would, and I'm talking in a non-pandemic world, because I know currently there's a mix with some Zooming and some in person. But once we get past the COVID experience, students would take a course through the Georgia Film Academy and go down there one day a week for that course.
Yeah, 1 or 2 days a week. Once you get your on-set production degree, you have to take this one class. It's the prerequisite to all the other courses. And once you get that course, you could take 2 courses in one semester. But their classes are 6 hours and they're 1 day a week. So yeah, normally you do it on Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday if you wanted to do 2 days a week. Or if you wanted to mix it in with some of your other core stuff from Highlands, you could do that as well and still just take it as a 1 day a week class. So there's flexibility in the model for sure.
Well, I'm very excited about it, and I think what you told me this week is that some of those production classes, or that introductory one, is almost full for spring.
Yeah, we're filling them up, and we may have to open another section, which is good news. So we would love to do that to be able to add more students. So yeah, if you want to get involved, go to Georgia Highlands website and check out our film page. You can also go to Georgia Film Academy and get some information from their website. It's just Google Georgia Film Academy, and you'll see some information. And if you know anybody that's interested, anything, reach out to me personally. You can email me at singram@highlands.edu, and I'll be happy to get the information to you.
Well, we need to take a break here. When we get back, we'll have additional conversation with Seth Ingram about film in the area. So stay with us.
For 50 years, years, Georgia Highlands College has been a community that takes charge. At GHC, we have a mission to provide access to an outstanding education, meeting the career needs of the region, and helping our communities thrive. Every student we graduate becomes a celebration we never forget. We are more than Chargers. We are Chargers taking charge for 50 years and beyond.
Welcome back to Community Watch. We're having a conversation with Seth Ingram, who is the Humanities Chair for Film and is in charge of 2 new degrees in film offered at Georgia Highlands College. Seth, I know there have been some developments in the industry here in Rome and in the Rome area. Things slowed down, of course, when the pandemic hit, but things are beginning to move a little bit again. So tell us some of the things that are going on.
Yeah, so coming out of the pandemic, productions have mostly been shut down for months now. And I think that some things have started back up and some things have continued working around the Atlanta area, but we're starting to see productions open back up and come back out. We just had Stranger Things was shooting up here, and there's some other things shooting up here, satellite things mostly. But coming to Rome, there's a film studio coming to Rome called PAM Studios, and they plan to eventually have some studio space, soundstage space for rent here in town. And they have they're also a production company, have some of their own projects. So they're opening up headquartering here in Rome. And their initiative for their studio is to make English language films for Latino audiences. But that's not exclusively what they're doing. That's just one of their core missions. Maria Guerrero Stoll, who is the owner operator there, is Latinx, and she is very excited of that part of the initiative of their mission. So hopefully that'll be getting off the ground in the spring sometime. We'll be hearing more information about that.
Now, is that, I know you were directing a reality show. Was it a pilot?
Yeah, I was producing the pilot they were the production company on that, PAM Studios. So the show is called 40 Acres and a Brew, and it's with the band Nappy Roots. And it's a reality show.
What's the name of the band?
The band is called Nappy Roots.
Nappy Roots.
They're Georgia and Kentucky based, I guess. How would you classify them? I guess they're rap, but it's they're soulful rap, roots rap, yeah. And they just opened a brewery in Atlanta. So what they're doing on the TV show is they're going from community to community and meeting the local brewers and collaborating on a local brew and meeting the community through the eyes of the brewery. And it's sort of about their adventures around the country doing that. And these guys they're very entertaining, a lot of fun, high energy guys. So that hopefully we'll be getting that off the ground soon. Supposed to go look at some of the edits later this week. So I haven't even seen anything since we shot it. So that'll be exciting.
Doc, I'm sure you have one of their CDs. I mean, Nappy Roots were pretty big several years back. So
yeah,
that's going to be interesting. But Seth, one of the questions I had about the whole, because what you said earlier, so really, you're talking about people can come to Highlands through these pathways, get a legitimate job in the industry possibly. So it's not just like you can get a degree and hopefully you're talking about internships, potential internships on sets with people, with real studios. So this is really a direct to work pathway if that's what you choose with these degrees.
Yeah, the film production is definitely a path to work initiative, and it was created in conjunction with the Department of Labor, coordinating with the state to make that happen. So you do get the on-set training from industry professionals on professional sets, but it's up to the student. And this is a problem we have with a lot of younger students, is you have to really tell them that they're going to have to market themselves and sell themselves and put their best foot forward to impress the people that would be giving you the internship, as you would with any internship. They're going to select the cream of the crop for the internships. So if you go down there and you're not prepared and you don't put your best foot forward, you may not get the internship. So we try to encourage our students and prep them as best we can to really be professional, be on time and on point on everything that they do, so that they can be eligible and be competitive to get these internships. Because they are, and there's more and more internships opening up with the more productions that come to town. So the more productions there are, the more internship opportunities there are. That it's definitely a great experience for those who get them. And a lot of the people, lots of testimony from the students that have talked about how great these opportunities were and how that they've been working consistently since they, completed their internship.
Now, my next question, because it goes back to you, because I know I apologize for not remembering the name of the film you made with the guy, the outlaw, the legend. I can't think of his name,
Yeah.
but I'm wondering for those students who have a passion in a like you did, who are coming to this program potentially with skills they've already worked on, developed stuff they've already done prior to this program coming on board. Are you seeing some of those students now that have some experience, of their own? They've been doing stuff on their own.
Yeah, you get a lot of students, and in this world of YouTube that we live in and TikTok, there's all sorts of students making all sorts of stuff from a very early age. And I don't know if you've seen these, if you have any nieces or nephews or children of your own that watch these video games on YouTube, they watch other kids play video games and they make these tutorials about them and that sort of thing.
Cutie
Lots of
pie.
kids, yeah, lots of kids have been doing that themselves for years, and so a lot of them come to the table with a lot of understanding of how it works, that part of the creative process. But there's a lot that they don't know, and I'm finding that especially when you get a lot of 17, 18, 19-year-olds in a film history course, I don't assume that they know anything, because a lot of these things that I assume that everyone's, a classic film that everyone's seen, but that's not the case. So we have to start at ground zero in a lot of it. But students all come from different backgrounds and have a different, they've experienced different things and have different skill sets, I would say, for sure. So we try to pick it up from where they're at and build from there.
Isn't it true that the film industry in Georgia has ballooned so much that there's a shortage of workers that have the skills that they need?
Yeah, there's a growing demand and a constant demand now. It was at first, I think there was, when the film industry first started, there was a definite shortfall of demand and productions couldn't come here because there was not enough demand. But now there's enough trained workers that have been trained here, and there's a lot of people that have moved here just to work in the film industry as well. So the demand that gap has closed a little bit, but there's still a glut of productions, and there's some of these studios are booked out for years on their sound stages. And this incentive, the tax incentive that brings a lot of these major productions here, doesn't have a sunset clause on it. So it'd have to be voted out by the legislature. And I think that it's not going to happen anytime soon. I think it's pretty stable, but you never know with political change. But there's been a lot of infrastructure investments made. I think there's 14 or 15 soundstage studios in the metro area now, and they're starting to be built further and further out. Columbus has started a film commission, and they're starting to attract programs or films there. They started a film fund to even films can apply to attach to their film fund to come and shoot there. Savannah's always been a big production hub as well. So it'd be nice to see something up here in the northwest corner of the state really attracting the films too. So I think Rome would be a great place to, shoot an entire film. So I think that rather than some of the bigger tentpole industry films have, they're going to come in and they can go shoot wherever they want. They have that kind of budget. But for like a lot of the independent films, what we call the tier 2 films that are usually the $5 to $15 million budgets, if they could come anchor in a town like Rome and use this as their base of and shoot all around here. If there was a program that would help them and get those, really attract those types of films here, I think that would be a really ripe market. But right now, as an independent filmmaker, I found this before there was a film incentive. It was easier to find friends to come help you make your film when you were making a passion project or something. But now everyone is working and getting paid really well, union jobs, working on major film sets. So it's harder to just find your buddies to come out and help you make a film because everyone's getting paid to do their work right now. So it's kind of a catch-22 there, but I think the more and more film students we get, the more opportunities there'll be for the independents in the area as well.
Now, see, I thought it was interesting. You said movies that have a $5 to $15 million budget, like that's nothing.
That's
It is.
what's called, yeah,
That's nothing. Hey, I'm not a film person. I know this. That's nothing.
well, some of these Marvel films, they'll spend $300 million
Yeah,
on.
easily.
Yeah. So
I was
it's,
looking the other day at the most profitable James Bond movies. So you're talking about even in the 70s, some of them had $100 million budget. They were talking about the ratio of the spend to the box office, and it was just amazing that even some of those at the time were getting high. But I think the most profitable one was Goldfinger. It had like a 3 million and made some outlandish amount. But yeah, but to us, 15 million spent in this area of budget. But yeah,
and when you think about those budgets, what all you're up against, even making some of the simplest films, cost starts adding up quickly. I just made a short film and had to make it cost a lot more than you would realize when you have to have production insurance and you have to get all your location security, you have to feed everybody on your set, you have to rent all your equipment, or a lot of ways that independent filmmakers can beg, borrow, and steal to get their productions made. But it's definitely, to do it legitimately and have a finished product and all the paperwork that you can then make some money off of it some way. There's a lot more to it than people realize. So in my class that I teach, Intro to Film Production, we talk about a lot of that and the very basics of everything and how it all fits together and how it all works. Because a lot of people just have no idea when you talk about you want to make a film, all the legalities and everything that go into it. They have no idea. So it's interesting to stumble into that and figure it out. I wish somebody would have shown me the way a few times, because it's definitely worth knowing and knowing how to do it right. But you can. A lot of these independent films can go on to make millions of dollars. So it's not a model that's unproven, but I think there's an opportunity for film investors now that people have seen that right now most of the money that comes in for investment for film in Georgia is not Georgia money. It comes in from LA or New York or London or somewhere else. But if we have banks and those were incentivized here, and local investors were here, that you could really, create a whole new cottage industry of investment for the entertainment industry. And I think you're starting to see some of that happen around the Atlanta area now.
now, Seth, because I am a documentary junkie, are documentaries normally less expensive to make?
Depends. Yeah, I would say normally, yes. There's less of if you're making it for TV, they give you less of a budget for them. So, because you don't have to have all the union actors and that sort of thing. And when most of your money in a major film, you pay your actors a lot of money if you get a name recognition talent. So with a documentary, you wouldn't have to have that whole aspect of it. But the production process is still very much similar to any other style of filmmaking. But it depends. Like if you're going out and shooting one person with a camera, kind of following that person around on like a little bio doc, or if you're making it, depends on what your subject matter is, on how stylized you want to try to make that now. But there's a huge market for documentaries and huge demand for them on, especially on the streaming services. I mean, the documentaries are very popular on Netflix and HBO. And
so trust me, I'm guilty. I'm guilty. Netflix documentaries. I mean, you can learn a lot. Actually, I say you can be educated through documentaries a lot of times. Because it's great products out there.
And also docu-series too. And some of those are more entertaining than educational. Like as the beginning of this pandemic, if you'll remember Tiger King, when it first came out, and that was hugely popular. And it was a documentary of sorts, that docu-series. So I think those are very popular. I just watched one on D.B. Cooper on HBO, The Mystery of D.B. Cooper. Name you may have forgotten about, but yeah, I love documentary films.
Well, Seth, we're out of time, but we appreciate you being with us. And folks can find out more about the film program by going to highlands.edu. So thanks. And thanks to all of you watching. We'll see you next time on Community Watch.